troubles the president vows to fight, saying no politician has been treated more unfairly.
Comey's memo, what he wrote, and the fallout in Washington.
And a royal sacrifice, what Japan's princess is giving up for love. Hello, I'm Lynda Kinkade.
And I'm Michael Holmes. Welcome, everyone, to CNN Today. And welcome, everyone. Keep fighting and never give up. That was the advice given to graduates by Donald Trump, who seemed to be referring perhaps to his own battles playing out at the White House.
The US president now finds himself in the middle of fresh turmoil over his alleged request to the former FBI director to drop his investigation into Michael Flynn. Well, hours ago, Mr. Trump told the crowd at the US Coast Guard Academy he has not been treated well.
No politician in history, and I say this with great surety, has been treated worse or more unfairly.
Well, let's head straight out to Washington now. Our senior White House correspondent Jim Acosta is there with the latest. Hard done by the president, unfairly treated. What else has been happening there?
Well, Michael and Lynda, President Trump did not mention the former FBI director, James Comey, by name in those remarks at the Coast Guard Academy earlier today, but he didn't have to. You can feel the frustration in his voice as he was complaining he is being treated unfairly here in Washington, but it appears from the president's remarks he is feeling the weight of weeks of crises here at the White House.
You will find that things are not always fair.
It was not your ordinary commencement speech. As President Trump delivered remarks to graduates of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, it became clear.
Look at the way I've been treated lately, especially by the media.
The speech was all about him.
Leaders. No politician in history, and I say this with great surety, has been treated worse or more unfairly. You can't let them get you down. You can't let the critics and the naysayers get in the way of your dreams. The people understand what I'm doing, and that's the most important thing. I didn't get elected to serve the Washington media or special interests.
The defiant remarks to the Coast Guard graduates hardly sounded like a president lost at sea, more like a commander-in-chief gearing up for battle. Consider what Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly said to the president after he was presented with a ceremonial saber. But the real fight for the president is with former FBI Director James Comey. The White House is rejecting Comey's allegations, stated in a memo that the president urged the FBI director to shut down the investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Since the last days of the campaign, the president has shifted in his assessments of Comey.
It took a lot of guts. I really disagreed with him. I was not his fan, but I'll tell you what he did, he brought back his reputation.
From praising his reopening of the Hillary Clinton email probe just days before the election to his interview with NBC News last week, when he admitted the Russia investigation was on his mind when he fired Comey.
Look, he's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil.
The president's son, Donald Jr., is lending his support on Twitter. He retweeted a comment that hoping Comey cuts Flynn some slack is not close to obstruction with one word: truth.
If Jim wants to be heard, Jim will be heard.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie appeared to blame the president's recent woes on his White House staff.
Listen, I think I've said a number of times publicly before that I think the president has been underserved by his staff.
But at this point, it seems no staff shakeup will quiet the calls for a special prosecutor.
Clearly, where we are now is, in my view, we need a special prosecutor to conduct an independent investigation to determine whether or not there was collusion. Clearly, we need to make the tapes, if there were recordings done at the White House between Trump and Comey, public.
Now, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer told reporters on Air Force One earlier today that the president has been clear about his feelings about that memo that was written by the former FBI director. But we should point out the president has not made any comments about that memo to date. And there has been some late-breaking news here at the White House. Senior administration officials are confirming that the president has decided for now not to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That is obviously a decision, Michael and Lynda, that would have stirred up a lot of tensions in the Middle East ahead of the president's trip. He is leaving Washington for a very long foreign trip, about a 10-day foreign trip here in the next couple of weeks. He's going to be visiting Israel, Saudi Arabia, Italy, and Brussels. And had the president made this decision heading into Israel, obviously would have stirred up a lot of tensions, with the White House saying for now that decision is not coming and may not be coming for some time. Michael and Lynda.
All right, he has a big week ahead, meeting dozens of world leaders on that trip. All right, Jim Acosta, good to have you with us. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jim. Well, on Capitol Hill, meanwhile, Republican and Democratic leaders are disagreeing on whether an independent commission or a special prosecutor needs to be brought in.
But whether that happens or Congress and the FBI continue to take the lead, everyone is calling just to get to the bottom of this. And one veteran Republican senator is pointing out how severe a crisis he believes this is.
I think it's reaching the point where it's of Watergate size and scale and a couple of other scandals that you and I have seen. It's a centipede that the shoe continues to drop.
We need the facts. It is obvious there are some people out there who want to harm the president, but we have an obligation to carry out our oversight regardless of which party is in the White House. And that means before rushing to judgment, we get all the pertinent information.
We still have a lot of investigating to do to determine just what the president was asking the FBI director and why. I don't think we should prejudge it, but there's certainly enough that we need to get to the bottom of this.
Talking about getting to the bottom of it, let's dig a little deeper into this latest Trump bombshell. Joining us now from Washington is CNN correspondent Jessica Schneider. As we just heard there, Jessica, Paul Ryan, the House Speaker, saying some people want to harm the president. We need the facts. The question I have, and I'm sure many people have, is why didn't Comey, the former FBI director, come out and publicly say that the president is trying to influence the investigation when it happened? Why now?
Well, Lynda, a lot of people are asking that question, that exact same question. Why exactly did James Comey only write this memo and not go directly to the Department of Justice if President Trump was in fact trying to get him to shut down the Michael Flynn investigation? But then other people are saying, hold on, wait a minute. This is exactly what James Comey always does. He memorializes his impressions and his feelings and what exactly has been happening. And that's exactly what he did here. And his hands were also tied because, of course, he is in the middle, or was in the middle, of this Russia investigation.